Buongiorno. Day two in Bari. And I can say buongiorno because it's still 3 minutes until noon. So I kind of had a late start today, even though I got up early. I'm in no hurry to do anything here. I went to the supermarket again. I'm having a little coffee emergency. Can't find the right size pods for my Nespresso machine. So I've already bought 2 boxes of the wrong size pods. Anywho, so today I'm doing 2 things different. First, I'm wearing my microphone, so I hope that the sound is better. Let's see, this is an experiment. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm not going far. I put a load of clothes in the washing machine. I still have about an hour and a half, but I want to get them out while the sun is still out because I don't have a dryer. And it gets cold at night, or cool, so they're probably not going to be dry. I should have started this at 8 a.m. But anyway, I want to go back and at least get them out of the washing machine, set them out to dry, and hopefully they will be dry by the time the sun goes down. All right, so I don't know what I was saying. Um, so I'm wearing the microphone and I'm not going far. I want to focus a little bit on this neighborhood because I know that most tourists stay on the other side of the tracks. I think a lot of people stay in Bari Vecchia, if that's your thing, but um, I'm really glad I'm not there because my little trip yesterday, it was very crowded, small streets, lots of tourists. And yeah, it's old, but it's old. So I did a little research today on ChatGPT about this neighborhood because as I was walking yesterday and looking at the buildings, I was just wondering, like, when were these buildings built? So I'm going to flip the camera around, show you a little bit, and talk about the neighborhood, what I learned. So this is pretty typical of this neighborhood, these kind of apartment buildings that look fairly new. So I think yesterday I guessed like 60s, 70s. And what I found on ChatGPT today was that that is correct. So these are mid-century construction, post-war. And really the anchor and the thing that sets the character of this neighborhood is this Policlinico, the polyclinic. Oh, Policlinico, is that like, that doesn't mean hospital, does it? So what I discovered was that the Policlinico was built in the 20s, I guess under Mussolini. Italy really made a push towards developing healthcare, and Bari became a center for healthcare in Italy with this Policlinico. And then as a result, sorry about the noise, I hope the microphone is cutting it out a little bit. But as a result, a lot of these apartment buildings were built around the Policlinico for the healthcare workers. And then also, I guess the University of Bari is around here somewhere. Yeah, it's really pretty. So this beautiful, big, imposing building on this square or this circle. And then these really nice mid-century apartment buildings around the square or around the circle. The other thing I said yesterday in my ramblings was that I thought that this was fascist architecture. Well, it turns out it is. I was correct. Fascist architecture, again, is from the time of Mussolini. Some of the characteristics are very grand scale, clean lines, and kind of hinting back to ancient Roman times. So you have these columns which suggest the great Roman past, but interpreted in a very modern way. And just very clean lines, but just huge scale. So when you're walking through here, you really feel the power of the state. So just some really beautiful details like the glass, the banister, this big opening. And then it opens on to this big plaza. I notice there's a cafeteria over here. I might go and check that out at some point when I get a little bit more confident in my Italian. Let's just say Italian is not clicking in the way that I had hoped it would. So this video, or this building was in my video yesterday. Facoltà di Medicina e Chirurgia. I wasn't sure what chirurgia is. It's surgery. So I'm wondering if this is part of the University of Bari. Here's a little sign here. The Policlinico. So one of the nice things about staying in this part of Bari is that I get to see this. All of those tourists that are crammed into the old streets of Bari Vecchia, watching the women make orecchiette. They don't really get to see this. I know my last trip to Italy, we went to Abruzzo, and we were going to be staying in Monte Solvano just because we found a villa that worked for the family. But my cousin had this tour guide that she used. He's based in Vasto. And he said, "Oh, Monte Silvano, it's very modern." So, I don't know if that's a common attitude among people. My opinion, and this is my opinion, is I want to see Italy. Yeah, it's nice to see the old stuff, but this is modern Italy. I mean, this is Italy today. This is where Italians live. You know, I'm surrounded by Italians, and this is history. You know, and this architecture is beautiful. It's amazing. So I'm really glad I'm here. All right, so I'm gonna wander around this neighborhood a little bit. I'm really in the mood for a panzerotto. So let's see if I can find one. If not, I'll just see what else I find. All right, so I just took a little rest here in this beautiful, quiet kind of park plaza outside of the Policlinico de Bari. And I checked some of the videos that I just recorded, and I'm sorry, but the sound was a little bit muffled. So I'm just going to try to speak up more, and I hope that this is better. Just, really enjoying seeing local life here. So, yeah, I haven't been to Panificio Fiore yet to eat my focaccia barese. And I saw the women making orecchiette. I haven't been to the basilica yet. But this is what I came to Bari for. I wanted a place where I could just kind of experience Italian life. You've seen one old church, you've seen them all, but how many people have seen this? All right, so I'm going to walk back out to the street, just meander and see what I can find. Well, I'm a little lost. I'm not really sure where I am or what this is. It doesn't really look like an apartment building or like medical offices. Um, so I'm hoping this will bring me back out to a street. And not a dead end. I don't really like filming people. I'm sorry if people get in my videos. So again, this is just a little glimpse of Bari that maybe most tourists have never seen. So here's another map, and doesn't really tell me where I am. It's quite a big complex. I have no idea. Piazza Giulio Cesare is probably, is this the entrance? So it's just interesting looking at the layout of this whole complex. All right, I think it might be better for me to retrace my steps, just go back in the direction from which I came. All right, so the answer to my question about this building is here. This is Facoltà di Medicina, Istituti Biologici. Sorry about my Italian. So it's a School of Medicine and Biologic Institute. So I think that's where I came from. Let's head back over this way. Looks like a school here. Lots of student types, young people studying to be doctors. And then I'm assuming that this is kind of like a teaching hospital. I said this yesterday, but it's just so funny to me to see so many faces that look familiar. You know, like these people could be in South Philly and just fit right in. Some of them, not all of them. I had a little interaction with a guy who was a friend of the host, of my Airbnb host, because I had a few issues in my Airbnb. So this really nice guy came to help yesterday. He told me his name was Shiro. I wasn't sure if it was Shiro or Jiro or Chiro, but I'm going to say Shiro. So I was trying to figure out, like, am I hearing this correctly? I told him Shiro means white in Japanese. Useless information, I know, but. And he said, no, it's Greek. So I wonder if anybody knows what his name might have been, and is it Greek? And then also, I'm going to do a little chat GPT research later to figure out, are the people in Puglia, do they have Greek ancestry? Because I know this was part of Greece at some point. Just wanted to stop and admire this beautiful little Madonna here. Was donated 2008. So just lots of little nice little touches here in this courtyard. The trees, these beautiful plants. It's a gorgeous day here. And then this amazing building. It's so huge and imposing. And look how small the people are as they walk through that grand entryway. All right, so I'm going to go back out to the street looking for a panzerotto. Just wanted to stop and admire this. Italy is, with it as far as encouraging electric cars. So here's a little charging station for 2 cars to plug in and charge. We really need more of this in the US. I'm not even going to get into it, but I could. So you can imagine what I have to say about our backwardness. Okay, so I see where I am. That's the building that I was just walking alongside, and then there's some kind of a parking lot or something here. So I'm outside of the Policlinico complex. And this is the same way I walked yesterday. I think there was a little cafe or something. All right, so this whole microphone situation is not really working out. I am at a little pizzeria here. It's called Pizza e Altro. So pizza and other. Grazie. And I got good recommendations on Google Maps. So I just ordered a margarita and a little beer. So let's see, my first pizza in Bari. My lunch has arrived and it looks gorgeous. It's a beautiful crust. It smells delicious. It's a margarita, but I don't see any basil. I guess there's no basil today. All right, I'm gonna cut into it and I'll let you know. Maybe the basil is hidden. So it's gotten a little busy here since I arrived. And one of the patrons is extremely noisy. Has a lot to say. He's being dragged away. Alright, so I just finished my delicious pizza and wanted to show you a little bit more of the neighborhood. So just lots of apartment buildings. I know for some people this is not appealing. For me, coming from a country where people are forced to live on the streets, I have to say I admire countries that have figured out how to house people. It's not about having a house with 15 bedrooms and an acre of land that you don't use. It's about making sure everybody's taken care of. So sorry for my slightly communist views on that. It looks like school just got out. So there's a lot of traffic here. It's a very pleasant little street here. I recognize this awning in front of me. This is where I got a gelato last night. It was not the best gelato, but it did the trick. And then right around the corner, there was a bakery that was just closing. So I'm gonna go take a look at that and maybe buy a piece of focaccia. So I just got a piece of focaccia that I don't need. And I knew what she was asking me, if I wanted to eat it now or if I was going to eat it later, but I didn't know how to answer. So she decided I needed it now. Somehow my body language communicated that. So let's take a taste. It was €1.60. Better than what I got at the supermarket. It's delicious. I can taste a little bit of anchovy. What? Watch out for pits. All right, I really can't eat the rest of this now. I'm gonna try to wrap it up, take it home. I think that might be the end of this video, but we'll see. All right, so I guess I'll end this video where I started, here at the Policlinico di Bari. And while I was waiting for my check after my pizza, I consulted ChatGPT again. So the Policlinico di Bari was founded in 1925. This area on the other side of the tracks from Murat, which people call New Bari, was mostly agricultural with, you know, some housing, but it was pretty barren. So that's why this location was chosen. It's close enough to the city center. It's about 10-minute walk to New Bari, and then Old Bari is not that much further. And it was an effort to provide health care to the people of Puglia, who didn't really have anything at that time. It was one of the projects of Mussolini, or the Mussolini government. And I guess that's about all I have to say about it. It's a research and teaching hospital. So that's it, the Policlinico. Now all of a sudden there's a lot of traffic. It's coming up on 2 o'clock. I wonder if this is people leaving work to go home for lunch and their siesta, or whatever they call it here. School was getting out. All right, so I'm gonna end it here. This was a look at the neighborhood around the Policlinico di Bari, which is a newer section of Bari. So there's Old Bari, Bari Vecchia, and then Murat, which is New Bari, which I think I'll explore maybe a little bit tomorrow. Beautiful neoclassical architecture. So that area was kind of developed in the 1900s, early 1900s. And then, like I said, the Policlinico was built in 1925, and then a lot of this, these apartment buildings are post-war construction after 1945, 1950s, 60s. So I've enjoyed my little walk around. I'm gonna go home and deal with my laundry, edit some videos, and then I think that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow on my next adventure. Ciao.